I believe that human safety should be the top priority. And Director Russo himself in the BPAC meeting admitted that traffic speeds would likely increase if the buffered bike lane were to be installed. By keeping Telegraph narrower and having the protected bike lanes, it would remain to have slow vehicle travel speeds, which is safer for pedestrians and bicyclists. I'm skeptical of the proposed parking meter strategy that ODOT has put forward. And the reason is that the cars parked in the bike lane often are not the ones that are paying for parking as they're picking up deliveries. And with the scores, ODOT claims that this strategy is what makes buffered bike lanes safer. And I disagree with that. I don't think they're gonna pay for parking regardless of the meters. BPAC, Public Works, and AC Transit all support a protected bike lane. On a personal note, as a bicyclist, it's scary. I hold my breath every time a car passes me, and it's just a scary thing to live through when cars are speeding by you. And so let's continue making Telegraph safer and build a fully protected bike lane and make Kono safer for all pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Hazard, you are up next. Please unmute yourself, sir, and you can begin, and we will start your time for you when you do.
Madam City Clerk, don't start my time. I'm getting feedback, and it sounds like an echo chamber. Is that my phone, or is that some technical difficulty?
That's must be you, Mr. Hazard. We don't have that same issue right now.
You said I didn't hear you.
It might be your connection, Mr. Hazard.
Okay, so now you can start my time. Thank you, Madam City Clerk. President Bass, I did not appreciate your response by going to November 4th or 5th when we were dealing with what the council did in closed session related to the Jobs and Housing Coalition. You were disingenuous. You know exactly what I was talking about. So let me make it clear. I made another request, scheduling request. What did the council do between the 4th of November 2019 and November 17 when the council, when the city attorney filed a notice of appeal? We want to know, we want an informational report related to that item, because that's what they did. I got a copy of the notice of appeal. You lied. You're being disingenuous with the public, Dan Cobb. Yes, I called it a lie. And so when are you, Madam, excuse me, Vice Mayor, going to put the issue around Markeisha Smith and the money that you're supposed to give her from August 2019 when you hired Riskin at the same level she is and gave him a larger amount of money? You cannot be talking about pay inequities without dealing with that. And the city attorney said you have the authority to place that in the closed session. So why don't you do?
Thank you, Mr. Hazard. The next speaker in the queue is Shari Godinez.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Sherry Godinez, and I'm the Executive Director for the Koreatown Northgate Community Benefit District. We strongly support ODOT's proposal to install a buffered bike lane. These separated lanes are dangerous, as demonstrated by collision data put together by former BPAC Commissioner George Naylor. Please don't ignore the report from Darlene Finn from the Race and Equity Department, or the 4,583 petition signatures from the community asking you to change this to a safer buffered bike lane. 2,800 signatures were gathered in just 7 days from KP Market customers. Don't ignore the city's sales tax data report, which shows a 25% decrease in sales between 2016, when the lanes were installed, and 2019 for Kono businesses. Please consider the economic impact to both brick and mortar businesses and the street vendors due to the large reduction in usable vendor space for the Oakland First Fridays event. If you look closely at the AC Transit report, they admit that the lane needs a fix, and they suggest not to allow cars to turn left or right from Telegraph Avenue. Don't ignore the hundreds of cyclists who have pointed out the dangers of the current pilot project and advocate for a buffered lane. Don't let a small elite group of cyclists influence you to ignore thousands of community stakeholders for a flawed design with the end goal of eliminating all parking and eventually all cars on Telegraph Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Eileen is next. Please unmute yourself and you can begin.
Hi, members of City Council. Thanks for taking the time today to hear comments about Telegraph Avenue. My name is Eileen, and from 2016 to 2018, I lived at the intersection of Market Street and West Grand Avenue, just a few blocks away from the stretch of Telegraph you're discussing today. As a new and unconfident bike rider, the protected bike lanes on Telegraph made me feel safe. I hope we can all agree that safety is the #1 priority here. My perception and the reality of my safety on the protected bike lane boosted my confidence as a new rider. And thanks to forward-thinking infrastructure like this around the East Bay, I now bike as my main source of transportation. This lasting mode shift is made possible when cities like Oakland commit to putting the safety of people who walk, bike, and take transit first. Agenda item 13 uses words like improvements and enhanced, but let me be clear. Taking out protected bike lanes is no improvement. The only thing enhanced will be the extra police presence required to ticket and tow cars double parked in the paint-only bikeway. Thanks to the work of council and staff, the city has $4.5 million secured to make Telegraph Avenue even safer. A vote in favor of this agenda item puts that funding at risk and spends additional city dollars and staff time to rebuild a less safe version of this street, all while stalling needed safety projects across Oakland. I'm asking you to please oppose agenda item 13. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for your comments. The next speaker in the queue is Karen N.M. Please unmute yourself and you can begin.
Hi, my name is Karen Nelson-Munson. I'm a 4th-generation Oakland resident, parent, and a family physician here. And I would like to advocate for the protected bike lanes on Telegraph Avenue for 2 reasons. First reason, I've been a business shareholder in the new Parkway Theater right off of Telegraph for over a decade. I love the bicycle traffic that has increased due to the protected bike lanes and the increase in family and comers of all walks of life. I think it will only improve business traffic and safety at events like First Friday Art Walk. If protected bike lanes are removed, I worry that this will hurt the local businesses I love and support. Second point, we do not have the police support to protect bicyclists if we remove these lanes. Last March in Oakland, I was hit by a car immediately after I asked it to move out of my bike lane. When I called the police to file a report, the officer advised me to never interact with a car in the bike lane as they declared it unsafe and volatile. I believe that unprotected or so-called buffered bike lanes will only continue to be a free parking lane for motorists and for the gig economy. When I asked a truck to move out of the bike lane at one point, it said no, because they knew they would not get ticketed if they were in the bike lane, as opposed to if they tried to take up a parking space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Andy Campbell is up next. Then we will have Donald Lacey, Ryan Favre, Nick Morales, then Will Walker, Susan Pollica, Gregory McConnell, Tom Wilging, Jill, Tim Courtney, and then a phone number ending in 5802. And we'll pause there. Andy Campbell, you can begin.
Thank you. Council President Bass and council members, I'm speaking on item S13, improvements to Telegraph Avenue. My name is Andy Campbell. I'm chair of the city's Bicyclist and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, or BPAC. The BPAC exists to advise city council and city staff to address biking and walking in all transportation plans and policies. We have members from every city council district. Last month, we received a presentation from Director Russo on the future of bike infrastructure on Telegraph from 20th to 29th Streets. Our meeting was an opportunity for robust public participation. Over 30 people provided comment, representing a wide variety of perspectives. Following public input and a discussion, the BPAC adopted a unanimous motion. We concluded that BPAC does not support the OakDOT staff recommendation and urges the continuation of the implementation of the concrete protected bike lanes with added curb management strategies addressing visibility issues to the extent feasible and controlling parking in the protected bike lanes. BPAC members believe that a protected bike lane will most safely serve the widest range of users and is most consistent with the city's stated policy to design roadways that will be safe and inviting for all users, including people who are interested in biking or walking, but concerned about the risks on Oakland's streets today. This is especially important on Telegraph, a key corridor. Please direct staff to implement the concrete permanent protected bike lane and not the staff recommended painted buffered bike lane. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Donald Lacey, you have the floor. Please unmute yourself and you can begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Donald Lacey, Executive Director of the Love Life Foundation, but more importantly, Loisha Lacey's father. And for public comment, I would like to speak as her because she can't speak for herself and what she would say to you, my esteemed city council and members of my community. My name is Loisha Lacey. I was born on 580 Freeway, delivered by my father. I grew up in West Oakland. I was a student at McClymonds High School where I was a very successful conflict resolution mediator. A few months before I was murdered, I asked my father to start a group to speak about violence in my city. I was tired of seeing so many young Black people die at the ages of 14, 15, and 16. I read the report and it falls very short. I do not understand in a city that's plagued with murder, I believe 65 or more at this point, does not promote the city's official motto. It's in small print on the website. All of the signs aren't up. We need to promote love life, not just for my blood that was spilled, for all blood that has been spilled in the city of Oakland. It's to honor all victims who have been murdered like me, and more importantly, to promote God's greatest gift that we all share, regardless of your color, race, ethnicity, or whatever, and that's the gift of life. We as a city must do more to uphold and promote the official motto, which speaks to loving the gift of life. Thank you for the time to speak to you. And I thank my father for carrying forth my mission all these years in the city of Oakland.
Thank you, Mr. Lacey, for your comments. Ryan Favre is the next speaker in the queue. You may begin.
Hello, I'd like to comment on the improvements on Telegraph Avenue. For the past 4 years, I lived on 24th Street just off of Telegraph. In April, I moved up to 58th Street off of Telegraph. I don't own a car, so my bike is my primary form of transportation and Telegraph is my most traveled route in the city. The protected bike lane has never really been perfect since it was installed, but it's always felt safer than buffered bike lanes like you find on a street like Broadway. The posts that were installed last year made a large improvement in the number of cars parked in the bike lane. And I feel like concrete protected bike lanes are the natural next step forward. We already have the money to install them. Let's use that money and continue to make that lane safer. So just in conclusion, I'd like to strongly recommend we move forward with the concrete protected bike lanes. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick Morales is next. Please unmute yourself and you can begin.
Hello, my name is Nick Morales. I live in District 1, right across the street from Mosswood Park on MacArthur Boulevard. And I use the bike lanes on Telegraph Avenue every day to commute downtown. And I am speaking to you today, City Council, to ask you to please keep the protected bike lanes. The concrete buffered ones would be a great improvement. These bike lanes are the safest option for cyclists all over the Bay, not even just Oaklanders. They allow us safe and convenient access to and from downtown Oakland. And contrastingly, shared motor vehicle bike lanes or buffered bike lanes create countless traffic and safety issues. Removing the separated bike lanes will cause more traffic accidents because blind spots in cars make it difficult for the drivers to see cyclists beside them when they are driving. And this is not just a parking and traffic issue because it's an issue of public safety. I've been pushed off the road multiple times in buffered bike lanes by people who simply didn't see me. Fortunately, I've only been seriously injured once, and I have lived to tell the tale, but there are countless people who will be harmed if you remove these bike lanes. And bicycle accidents with cars usually result in death. So this is a pretty big issue of public safety. There's also the issues of traffic congestion. People park in the bike lanes when they have access to it. And there's also climate change. People being encouraged to use bike lanes that are there for them and having an accessible and well-maintained network throughout the city makes people use their bikes and gives them the option to leave their cars at home and reduces air pollution and our overall carbon footprint. So please deny this resolution and vote to keep the bike lanes on Telegraph. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Will Walker is next. Caller by the name of Will Walker, you have the floor. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, and good afternoon, City Council. It's long overdue that CWS, California Waste Solutions, move to the industrial district. Please do not allow them to delay this move another 3 years. Last month, a 3-alarm fire at the 10th Street California Waste Solutions facility resulted in injuries to OFD personnel, burning trash falling on our homes, and toxic smoke blanketing our neighborhood. Local residents have documented and complained of illegal behavior from this facility for decades, including an illegal parking lot on residential zoned land. CWS's history includes a deep and ongoing record of environmental and labor violations documented by the EPA, Alameda Law Enforcement Agency, California State, and the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. CWS has been able to slow walk the relocation to the industrial district for over 10 years while continuing to expand operations on sites originally approved for 1/5 of the current capacity and expanding to process the waste of other area municipalities next to our homes and residences. Why is CWS taking so long to make the move? Why are they asking for another 3 years to begin building as a part of this move? It's simple. It costs money to build a building, and it's cheaper to use the assets they already have. Finally, in 2020, according to the city attorney and Oakland Side reporting, at least 5 current and former members of this council accepted at least $51,000 in donations through straw donors from California Waste Solutions, including Kaplan, Tao, Reed, and Calb. What assurances do we, the public, have that this process, which has happened primarily behind closed doors, will be handled in a manner that represents the best interests of the citizens and workers of this city and not allow CWS to delay continually into the future? Thank you for taking my comment.
Thank you. Andrew M. is next. Please unmute yourself and you can begin.
Hi there. My name's Andrew Miller. I live here in Oakland in the Longfellow District, and I am just wanted to say that I am in favor of the Oakland Department of Transportation removing those protected bike lanes on Telegraph. As a driver and a bicycle rider, I think that they contribute to confusion for drivers through the area, and I don't think that it is as it is, it's very safe. I remember when they put those in, I used to commute down Telegraph, and I moved over and went down Market Street because they were so confusing going through. They're narrow and you can't maneuver around them if there's a concrete lane there, but you're stuck in it and you have to deal with the things that happen in the neighborhood, pedestrians crossing or people dumping stuff in those, and they're just overall, it's a bad idea. I agree with the Department of Transportation, their recommendation to go back to the paint-only buffered bike lanes. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Pollica is next. Please unmute yourself and you can begin.
Hello, my name is Susan Polifka. I have lived 2 blocks away from this stretch of Telegraph for many years, and despite the cited signatures from thousands of people, this is somehow my first opportunity to provide input. I'd like to use my time to tell you about a similar decision that confronted the City Council of Hoboken, New Jersey. Hoboken had a once-in-a-generation opportunity to upgrade Washington Street, its main commercial street, which experienced significant double parking and loading. The mayor and council were faced with a similar choice, to build protected bike lanes or not. The council capitulated to the most vocal business owners and invested $17 million in a completely reconstructed street with regular bike lanes. Since then, cars and delivery trucks routinely double park in the bike lanes, and several dooring accidents have occurred. Council members have on record stated that they made the wrong decision and acknowledged that the council's input made Washington Street unsafe. The lanes are widely seen as a failure, and last fall, the council approved a resolution for a traffic engineer to reassess the bike lane design. Any changes will be costly given the significant new concrete and drainage work that would need to be redone, and given budget woes are unlikely to happen. It's even more unlikely, if not impossible, that Oakland could afford correcting the same mistake. Additionally, relying on increased enforcement for new buffered lanes is very troublesome and frankly unbelievable given our budget woes and by evidence that you can't even effectively enforce the pilot lanes today. Whatever the outcome, I hope you commit to better enforce the dangerous motorist behavior on the street today. If you choose not to support the protected bike lanes, I hope you are ready to support protected bike lanes on Broadway instead, which will be an even heavier lift. We need one or the other, and we already have a better protected design ready to go. Please support the protected bike lanes. I believe history will look kindly upon your choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Gregory McConnell, you are next. Please unmute yourself, sir, and you can begin.
Good afternoon, Gregory McConnell on behalf of CWS. Thank you, council members, for hearing me on this issue. We encourage you to pass item number 3. One of the previous speakers talked about the great delays and time involved in getting CWS away from their current location into a new location. I don't know that I agree with everything. In fact, I know I don't agree with everything that speaker said, but I do know this,